Hey, what's going on, guys? What is happening? I'm Johnny. You've tuned into Rules for Rebels, and today I just wanted to touch briefly on this Tether situation. I've had a couple of you guys hit me up asking me to kind of comment on the whole Tether thing. I'll be honest, I've never really been a trader of Tether. I've never really used it too much. I think I have 16 Tether in my Binance account, and I only have that because it's been given to me for referrals, but I haven't even been able to really figure out kind of how to trade it off or get rid of it. So aside from like being kind of up on this recent news with the whole Tether audit thing, traditionally I haven't really traded Tether. So if any of you guys have been like actively trading USDT, Tether, over the past months and have paid more close attention to the movements and kind of followed the company more, feel free to chime in, drop a comment below. If I misspeak on anything, again, just drop a comment in the comment section below. One thing that's kind of negative about this situation, I mean, this could turn out to be a whole lot of nothing. It could be a really, really big deal. But the crypto market's been down for a couple weeks. We've had a bout of bad news. We had like the BitConnect thing. We had India talking about banning cryptos. We have BitGrail kind of playing games with people's Ray blocks and things like that right now. So just kind of a whole lot of bad stuff going on in crypto, on top of the kind of historically bearish month of January to begin with. I know a lot of people, myself included, had really been kind of excited to break through January and hopefully go on a little bit of a run here and recover a little bit in February. But I guess we'll see what happens with this whole Tether thing. This could be huge news. Also, the fact that the subpoena was issued December 6th and it's just coming out now. I'm not sure if like just everybody slept on this and didn't pay attention to the news, or if this just got leaked. But it's kind of weird how this is just now becoming a big deal, like, well over a month after this whole subpoena thing happened. I got a couple things we're going to look at today. We got Tether's website pulled up. We got the charts pulled up. You guys can see how much more Tether was added, after I guess from kind of January onwards. Charlie Lee made a few comments about it, and I actually haven't even read this article yet. Maybe we'll give a read through this. But this is kind of the most recent article that came out overnight. So that's kind of what I just wanted to touch on today. So in terms of what Tether is, the idea behind it, it's a centralized cryptocurrency where every token represents an actual US dollar. It's a way of kind of adding some stability to the cryptocurrency market, which traditionally without Tether doesn't really have any safe havens. Now, if you're trading through like GDEX, for example, I can buy Litecoin for $50. It goes up to $55. I sell it. I'm back into fiat. I'm out of the crypto market. I'm not subject to any of the volatility of the cryptocurrency market. And it's also a lot easier to kind of track my gains, right? Like, it can get really confusing trading currency pairs. And at times it can feel like, if you're trading between like Bitcoin and Ethereum, Litecoin, and then, I guess what we'll call altcoins, kind of everything else. It sometimes feels like you never really make money. You're just, your Bitcoin goes up, your altcoins don't go down. Your altcoins go up, your Bitcoins go down. And it feels like your money's just kind of shuffling back and forth sometimes as opposed to making money. Now, because none of the altcoin markets for the most part, at least not for US customers like myself, because none of those have a fiat pairing or allow you to cash out into dollars. There's really no safe haven where if crypto's going nuts, there, and tanking or really volatile, there's really nowhere you can step back and say, okay, I just want to ride a level playing field until I see another entry point. So that's kind of what Tether provides, right? Tether provides you, I can jump into Lisk, and then, if I want to sell at the peak and hop out and wait for things to drop back down, I can hop back into Tether. So that's kind of the idea behind Tether. I think Tether serves kind of two main purposes. One, there just is no US dollar option in altcoin markets to jump into. So Tether kind of fills that role. Like I said, like I already explained, as opposed to GDAX, where you can hop into dollars, then go back, hop into dollars, then go back. I know for a lot of newer traders, and even for more experienced traders, it can be really confusing trading currency pairs. And also there's no safe haven. So it sometimes feels like your money's just, seesawing basically. So that's kind of the void that Tether fills. Another thing, I know a lot of people seem to think that trading crypto for crypto is not a taxable event. So I think a lot of people treat Tether like, okay, I can go into fiat without actually going into fiat. Technically, going from crypto to crypto or even crypto to Tether, even though Tether technically is a crypto, that is a taxable event. You're not avoiding taxes by doing this. Although I suppose if you're dealing with a foreign exchange who's not going to report on you, I suppose you can do this and Uncle Sam's never going to find out about it. But that's kind of what Tether is and why it exists from my understanding. Now, like, why this whole thing going on right now is such a big deal is basically if Tether really has every Tether backed by a US dollar, there's really no issues. If it's more of a fractional reserve or they're doing fractional banking, which means maybe for every 100,000 in Tether, they got 40,000 US dollars in the bank. As long as everybody's not cashing out at one time, things are going to continue running smoothly as well. But where this whole thing would fall apart is if Tether is not really backed by the US dollar and everyone wants to start selling their Tether, well, then it's going to cause, it just basically can't sustain itself. Now, I see some people lumping Tether into like the same category as a BitConnect, and I wouldn't say that's true whatsoever. Like, Tether could turn out to be a giant scam, but at the end of the day, at least the idea behind it could work, right? With BitConnect, it's just impossible to sustain those types of payouts, whether it was 1% a day, 2% a day, or whatever. The concept of Tether can work if the company is being honest and is actually backing all the Tethers with a US dollar. The problem lies if that's not the case, which if that's not the case, it's also fine if they're doing kind of fractional reserve banking, unless everybody wants to pull out at one time. Now, what we kind of see here, Tether has been kind of growing steadily since like May of 2017. However, it's like end of December that we've seen the amount of Tether created just kind of go through the roof. Let's see. I wanted to talk quickly about a link between USDT or Tether and Bitfinex. There definitely seems to be some overlap. Like, I don't know if we want to say they're the same company, but a lot of the higher up people involved in both companies are involved in both companies. So there does seem to be some type of relationship between Tether and Bitfinex. And what's kind of scary about Bitfinex has had their issues over the years, right? They've had some legal issues. They've had a hack. They've had some of their own issues. But why this is such a big deal, if they are kind of manipulating this or if it's really not backed, is it makes Bitfinex as well as the whole cryptocurrency market, it makes the market cap look a lot higher than it really is in reality. And another thing is it potentially allows them to manipulate prices, right? They have all this money that's not really backing Tether that they can throw into Bitcoin or throw into whatever else. So it would allow for a lot of manipulation if this isn't really backed and they're just pulling out the money. Let's see. How much of the total USDT supply is actually backed? They claim it's 100%, i.e. every Tether in circulation has $1 backing it. However, until we see a full audit, it's more than likely probably a fractional reserve. And I guess I haven't even touched on the audit. So Tether had hired a company, I think it was Friedman something, it was like a law firm, accounting firm, to do an audit on them. Now, when you do an audit for like the government or even for like shareholders or just for a positive public view of your company, you hire your own law firm, but it's kind of an independent third-party law firm, so it's not like you're having your own accountants review the books or something like that. So apparently they were going through this audit. It's not really clear whether Tether fired Friedman, I believe Friedman's the name of the law firm, or whether Friedman fired Tether, but it doesn't look good when Tether comes out and basically says the auditors are being too thorough, we're calling this off. To me, it seems like a pretty simple audit to do. Like, okay, you say you have 2 billion Tether, show me a bank account with $2 billion in it. Okay, audit is over. It doesn't really seem like it should be that complicated. As far as how much Tether is out there in existence, currently there are 2.2 billion in Tether, 15 million in euro, so very small amount in euro, comparatively speaking. Pretty large balance, a lot of money. And then again here, we can see how much has been created since like the end of December. Let's see. One kind of interesting thing about this is, hypothetically, if Tether really is backed dollar for dollar, anybody who has an insight into the company, people who work for the company, anytime Tether dips below $1, smart money would be buying up Tether, because as long as it's, what's the word I'm looking for? As long as there really is dollars backing every Tether, Tether is always going to be pegged pretty close to $1. So if Tether somehow drops to 92 cents, and I work for Tether or have some relationship with Tether or know somebody at Tether and I know that's to be true, I might as well buy Tether, because at the very least I'm guaranteed to make like an 8% return. So I do think it's kind of a couple positive things about Tether. Again, I'm staying away from Tether. I've never really gotten involved in Tether. But just to kind of throw out something positive about Tether, the fact that the subpoena was issued December 6th and they're still issuing Tether, They either got really big balls or are really stupid, or it's like, we're already fucked, let's make some more money while we can. But I think in some ways it's kind of a good sign that this subpoena has already happened and they're still printing Tether. The fact that Tether's, managed to maintain its value means that people are still buying into it and still keeping the price propped up. So, maybe this whole thing is kind of a non-issue. Let's see, Charlie Lee said some things about this, and just one commentary about Charlie Lee, man. Litecoin's been hurting lately. I think for Litecoin's one of my favorite coins. I'm probably sitting on way too much of it. I probably would have been much better off had some of that money been in Ethereum. But one of two things is going to be the case with Litecoin. So back when Charlie Lee was like, hey guys, this is an awesome project. Litecoin could go to like $1 million. And for that reason, just for my own purity, I need to sell this off. So one of two things happen. Either something big is happening for Litecoin in 2018, whether it's like a partnership with Monero or maybe Facebook implementing Litecoin, like we heard those rumors a while back. But for Charlie Lee to have sold off all his coins for other reasons, it either means something huge is happening for Litecoin, or it means Charlie Lee just farted on all of our dinners and kind of left us all being bag holders. So, at this point, I'm not selling my Litecoin. I basically, I've always wanted to be kind of in the million club of Litecoin. Plus, I wanted to have some more to sell if it spikes and take some profits without touching my 84 Litecoins. So, I'm getting kind of off topic here, but that remains to be seen. But yeah, just since we're going to be talking about Charlie Lee here, I thought that might be important to point out. So Charlie Lee sent out 3 tweets yesterday in regards to this. He said, with respect to the Tether situation, it's expected for the CFTC to subpoena Bitfinex to investigate if there were any wrongdoings. The fact that the subpoena is in December 2017 and they have still continued issuing USDT is good news. USDT is just like any other altcoin. His second tweet, if it turns, or I guess this is kind of a continuation, if it turns out that USDT is not backed by real USD, the price will crash to zero. This is similar to what happened with BitConnect BCC. It should not affect BTC or other altcoins. The reason it does not is because people are afraid of it affecting and they sell. This becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. People afraid of the price crashing sell their coins and cause the price to actually crash. In my opinion, hold is the best move to ride this out and buy the dip. That said, don't ask me to buy LTC, as I've decided not to trade in LTC for other reasons. So that's the only reason I dropped the comment about either something huge is happening for Charlie Lee, or again, Charlie Lee farted on all our dinners and we're all holding his bags. So anyhow, this whole self-fulfilling prophecy thing kind of reminds me of the futures trading. So I'm getting a little bit off topic here, but with futures trading, the futures are not actually settled in Bitcoin. So while it's possible that big Wall Street guys, big bankers, whoever, are buying futures and then actually buying Bitcoins and manipulating the Bitcoin price to affect their futures bets, well, that is a possibility. In the grand scheme of things, from the very beginning, I said the only reason that futures are going to affect the Bitcoin market is because actual Bitcoin holders who hold real Bitcoins look to the futures market to set a value. And then, depending on what the futures market does, that may cause people to sell. And again, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy for the Bitcoin market. So let me go through that again. At the end of the day, there are no actual Bitcoins involved in the futures market. So hypothetically, as far as I can wrap my head around, futures market should have no bearing on actual Bitcoin markets. But when Bitcoin holders say, oh crap, the futures markets are down, or the futures markets are looking bearish, I better sell my Bitcoins, then that causes the Bitcoin price to go down. So just a quick commentary on kind of that self-fulfilling prophecy thing. Another kind of bad thing about this whole Tether thing, the mainstream media, even mainstream society hates us. Look at all the, Bitcoin drops a few percentage and everybody's talking about how it's the end of crypto. I'm on a lot of like non-crypto investing and financial message boards, and man, like Bitcoin goes down like 10% and like every guy on there is like, I told you, idiot. So crypto's a Ponzi scheme. It's tulips. It's beanie babies. I told you this was going to happen. And it's like, really, guys, 10%, like, get over it. But, nonetheless, the last thing we need is more ammo for kind of the anti-crypto crowd. So all this stuff with BitConnect and, if this Tether thing turns out to be a bigger deal, definitely not a good thing for kind of the crypto image. As far as how this could affect the markets, I have a feeling it would tank the markets, although in reality, in my opinion, like basically a lot of people, there's a lot of money sitting in Tether, right? So if Tether were to go away or if people lost confidence in it, people basically have two choices. They can either send their money off altcoin exchanges over to Gemini or Coinbase and cash out to actual fiat and just take their money out of the market, or they can dump into altcoins. So if we saw Tether start to slide, I think we'd see a lot more money pull back into Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and other altcoins, and that could potentially be good for the quote-unquote real cryptocurrency. You know, I know Tether's a cryptocurrency, but in the grand scheme of things, it's more like an investment tool. It's not really a cryptocurrency. Let's see here. For Tether to have an issue, more people have to. Okay, yes. I mean, for this to be a big issue, one of two things is going to have to happen. Either this is like the entry into the U.S. government starting to regulate crypto, or here's basically the only situations under which this could be a really bad thing. Is either this is kind of the invitation for the U.S. government to start regulating the hell out of crypto, or people lose confidence in Tether and everyone starts pulling their money out and the thing crashes. And if that is the case, and if it turns out that Tether isn't really backed by dollars, what that basically means is that the entire cryptocurrency market has looked like it's way, way, way more valuable than it is. And I guess the market cap and everything is artificially inflated. And the price is going to tank, and it's going to be, that's not the end of crypto, but it's going to be a while before we get back up to where we have been. As far as, lastly, is it worth holding a cryptocurrency? Okay, so is it worth holding Tether is kind of the last thing I wanted to touch on. So, let's think about this. So Tether, the absolute most upside you could possibly have is essentially $1. I mean, I think at some points Tether might have gone up to $1 or $2 or something like that, but it's meant to peg the dollar. So Tether's never going to be a $10 coin. So there's really no upside as opposed to just staying even in stability. However, the downside is if this does turn out to be a scam, if it does turn out not to be backed, if the U.S. government comes in and starts regulating Tether and Bitfinex, I think we're going to see Tether's price slide and you potentially stand to lose a lot. It could potentially even go to zero. So, you know, Tether may not be a terrible place to quickly jump into to kind of ride out some volatility or between trades, but I definitely personally wouldn't be sitting on any serious amounts of Tether for any extended periods of time. Again, just to kind of let you guys know, I've never really traded Tether. I've never done USDT pairs. Really none of my friends or anything like that trade Tether either. I know one guy who's kind of is more of a business contact. I talk to him from time to time, and he pays some guy, I don't know, some YouTuber or something like that, for crypto advice or to follow his trades. And I will say, whoever he follows, I haven't gotten the guy's name, but the guy has been pretty accurate, because before the most recent pullback that we saw, his guy told him to sell everything and go into Tether. And so he'd been up on a lot of altcoins, right? Like he rode VeChain to the top, you know, rode a bunch of these other kind of shit coins to the top, and then jumped into Tether and didn't have to sit through any of this volatility we've seen. Although I think now he has a lot of money sitting in Tether. So I think he's probably going to go back to Bitcoin and then go just cash out to fiat and kind of sit on the sidelines for a little bit and see what happens. But yeah, hopefully, you know, today is the last day of January. Totally off topic, but I'll be making my Amazon merch sales numbers video here in the next couple days. I'm also going to be getting Side Hustle Tuesdays started back up next week, this upcoming Tuesday. But yeah, February's almost here. Hopefully we can kind of get a lot of this nonsense out of the way. Not saying Tether's going to crash, but if it does crash, I guess what a lot of people have been saying that I kind of agree with is better it happens now than when we're at a new all-time high. Better it happens now and we wash kind of the BitConnects and the Tethers and all the nonsense out of the system, and just kind of get it all behind us. But yeah, hopefully we have a bullish January ahead of us. Let me know what you guys think about the Tether situation. Let me know what coins you guys are bullish for this month. Kind of something that I'm doing right now. At least I'm trying to do. I'm kind of really wanting to consolidate the coins I'm following. There's just too much stuff going on in the crypto space to really keep track of all the coins and all the news with different coins and things like that. So really, I want to kind of stick to Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, and then maybe a couple of other altcoins. I'm thinking probably Neo and Lisk. So I want to start selling off a lot of positions and just kind of going heavy on that kind of core 5 cryptos. Although one thing I'm having a hard time with, like, I really like Ethos, I really like EOS, I really like Navcoin. I recently picked up some airdrop. So when I'm wanting to like sell everything off and consolidate, there's a lot of coins that I'm like, I've been sitting on this one forever. I don't really want to let it go right now. As soon as I do it, it's going to moon. So yeah, I'm having a hard time doing that, but that's kind of my plan. I think I said I was going to, this is kind of the end of the video, so feel free to check out if you want, but I was going to read this article anyway, so I guess I'll hang on here with you guys and read it before I cut out. So U.S. regulator CFTC sends subpoena to Bitfinex exchange and startup Tether. Tether is yet to come clean on its alleged involvement with Bitfinex exchange and issuing USDT tokens, which are alleged to have not been backed by the US dollar. There have been mounting suspicion within the crypto community over the controversial relationship of Bitcoin exchange Bitfinex with startup Tether, who is the issuer of dollar-linked USDT tokens to several exchanges. Many analysts in the market have alleged that Tether has been issuing extra tokens to Bitfinex without actually backing them with the US dollar, and the exchange has been using those tokens to manipulate and control the price of Bitcoin. According to the latest report by Bloomberg, U.S. regulators are closely monitoring every move of Bitfinex and its operations. The report says that the U.S. Commodities and Futures Trading Commission has sent subpoenas to both companies, Bitfinex and Tether, last month on December 6, 2017. So again, this is kind of old news. I'm not sure why or how it's just getting out now. Erica Richardson, a CFTC spokeswoman, in an emailed statement to Bloomberg said, we routinely receive legal process and law enforcement agents and regulators conducting investigations. It is our policy to not comment on any such requests. As on Tuesday, January 30th, 2018, Tether claims to have a total of $2.3 billion worth of USDT tokens in the market, with each outstanding token being backed by the US dollar on a one-to-one basis. So they're claiming it's not fractional reserve, it's one-to-one, and are held by the company and its reserves. But with the growing suspicion in the market, analysts have asked Tether to come clean on this matter and have a third-party uninterrupted audit. However, Tether has not responded to anything substantially backing its claims. There has been an increasing skepticism in the market about Tether's issuance in USDT tokens. The skepticism with the crypto community started when Tether released a massive amount of tokens worth 50 to 100 million, especially at a time when there's a lot of questions being raised about its operations, and has left many to think that who is depositing that huge amount. Moreover, Bitfinex's involvement with its sister company Tether has grown to a new level, especially its disruption in the banking relationships early last year. Many allege that Tether is creating a fictional reserve and issuing more tokens than those being actually backed, and further sending them to Bitfinex. An anonymous report with the name Quantifying the Effect of Tether, which concludes that it is highly unlikely that Tether is growing through any organic business processes, rather that they are printing in response to market conditions. Tether printing moves the market appreciably. So I guess that's kind of referring to it makes the market cap look larger than it really is. What is even more concerning is the whole story that Tether recently dissolved its ties with audit firm Friedman LLP earlier this week. A Tether spokesperson who refused to be identified said in an email statement, "We confirm that the relationship with Friedman is dissolved. Given the excruciatingly detailed procedures Friedman was undertaking for the relatively simple balance sheet of Tether, it became clear that an audit would be unattainable in a reasonable time frame." And this is really suspicious to me. I've had businesses be audited before. I've worked for businesses that were audited, and those businesses were a lot more complicated. And even our audits, like we had the accountants in our office for one day. They did a bunch of back-end work and would ask for more documents and things like that. But like 2-3 weeks, the audit was done. In the case of Tether, just due to the nature of the business, there's really not much to audit. I mean, it's basically like, this is how much Tether you say you have. Show us bank accounts equaling this much money. So the one of two things, either this definitely isn't backed and they're just like, oh, we're going to take our ball and going home. We don't want to be outed. Or the other thing is this accounting firm was wanting to dig into maybe other parts of their books not related to Tether. And they're like, oh, no, we brought you in here to audit Tether. But doesn't really look very good. Anyhow, analysts are saying that if Tether fails to build confidence in the crypto community regarding its operations, it could trigger a bloodbath in the crypto market. Bitcoin price has recently slipped by over 10% and below $10,000, the sentimental mark. Currently, at the press time, Bitcoin is trading for $9,981.20, according to CoinMarketCap. The recent correction is not limited to Bitcoin, but has occurred across the entire market, with other altcoins correcting by around 10%. The overall market cap has gone below $500 billion Let's see if we take a quick look at GDAX. I know Bitcoin was down below 10 grand last night. GDAX was actually trading substantially lower than CoinMarketCap's price. Bitcoin right now sitting at 10,064. Bitcoin Cash 1489. Ethereum 1102. Ethereum's really holding up well to this kind of little bear run we're having, and Litecoin just kind of sitting steady down at 162. So that's all I got for you guys today. Again, let me know what your guys' thoughts are for what kind of February we're going to have, what coins are you liking, and what are your thoughts on the Tether situation. Drop your comments in the comment section below, and we'll catch you on the next video.